Well, welcome to a special edition of E.W. Jackson for America. I say special because on Mondays, what I usually do is show my sermon from Sunday. Very important sermon yesterday. I'm preaching a series during Celebrate American History Month. I want to remind everybody, we've declared September Celebrate American History Month. If you have an opportunity to talk to the president, tell the president he ought to declare September Celebrate American History Month, because it's the month the Constitution was passed, September 17th, 1787. Well, we've done that, and we built programming around that. And, of course, right now we're in the middle of our Project 76 Stand-a-thon, which is going to end officially on September 17th, but Celebrate American History Month will go the entire month. But it is extremely important that we help Americans understand our history, because they don't. 15%, only 15% of Americans know that September 17th is the day the Constitution was passed. And it is undoubtedly the second most important day in American history. I mean, there's no question about it. It is the second most important day in American history, because we've been living under that Constitution for 238 years. And to think that most Americans don't even know, I tell you what, most Americans know what Juneteenth is. They may not understand the history, but they know Juneteenth because, the left and the mainstream media has made sure they know about it. But think about it. Today is September the 8th. How many public service announcements, how many programs have you seen on television or anywhere saying, hey, Constitution Day is coming up, everybody. The day the Constitution of the United States was passed. You know how many I've seen? Zero. I'm doing that because my Instagram camera is right there. Zero. Why? Well, as I've said, I really believe that we need to make September 17th a federal holiday. I'd like to see that happen before I leave this earth. September 17th become a federal holiday. Because it would be such a unifying thing to remind Americans, this is when our Constitution passed. It would give families a day. What is the Constitution? What if every family in America on Constitution Day read through the Constitution, or just read the Bill of Rights even? What if every American family did that? And then start reading other articles and, talking about the Constitution at the dinner table. That could have a revolutionary effect on this country, a positive one. It would make it much more difficult for these leftist idiots to run around the country talking about, we've got to destroy America, we got to destroy the idea of America and all this nonsense. And it'd be also very difficult for them to run around talking about our democracy. We're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. I hear some people like Chelsea Gabbard, and bless her heart, she's trying to do a good job, and I think she is, generally speaking, doing a good job, call it a democratic republic. It's not a democratic republic. It's a constitutional republic. Now, we do operate by certain democratic means. There's certain things that we do that is just straight vote, like the outcome of our elections. Although if you leave it to leftists with this, what do they call it? I forget what this stupid voting rank voting system that they've come up with, which is just, they had that in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They have it in Cambridge, Massachusetts. They've had it up there for, 30, probably 40, 50 years. I don't know how long. It's ridiculous. All it is a way for leftist politicians to take control of a place. That's all it is. Because they've created that system so that they can manipulate it to their benefit. Again, what their primary raison d'etre, their reason for being, their reason for existing is to get and keep power. So, look, we are 9 days away from Constitution Day when we conclude this Project 76. I've got a very, very important topic that I want to get to. In fact, you know what? Let me launch into that now. And we're supposed to be praying with three things: praying, volunteering and giving, praying, volunteering and giving, praying, volunteering and giving. If you haven't prayed, please pray for us. You probably have already. Haven't volunteered, think about what you might be able to do to help us. Okay? I've said you can start a chapter. You can become an ambassador for Stand. You can contribute whatever skills or abilities you might have. You know, maybe you're a professional. Maybe you've got a PR firm. And you say, you know what, I'm going to donate 3 months, 6 months, or whatever of my services to Stand to try to help them promote what they're doing because I believe in it. That's a volunteer just as much as somebody saying, hey, I'll stuff envelopes for you and lick stamps for you. So whatever it is, whatever God has gifted you to have, whatever talent, whatever ability, you can contribute that. You can make that as a gift, an in-kind gift to our organization. We are a 501c3 organization, and any gift you give is tax deductible. So I tell you, folks, one of the concepts, one of the things that we are committed to is the deracialization of America. The deracialization of America. Now, I'm sure that you saw this horrendous video. Actually, it's on a North Carolina chain. I said it was earlier. I wasn't sure, and I called it New York, but it's a North Carolina train. This guy sitting behind this Ukrainian woman. Now, I don't even know why it's important to tell us she's Ukrainian, but at any rate, not to put too fine a point on it, it is a black guy in dreadlocks behind a young white woman. Let's see, she's 23 years old. Irina Zaruska, 23 years old. With her back to him, she's sitting there reading something. In the video, they show her just sitting there, just quietly reading. If I'm not mistaken, I think she's got something in her hand she's looking at anyway. He's behind her. Apparently, video catches him opening up a pocket knife, and they stop it before you see it, even though it's all filmed. He stands up, takes the knife, and stabs the girl in the throat 3 times. Kills her. I believe she dies on the scene, but he kills her. Now, folks, well, I really don't want to be misunderstood on this, but I really want to make sure that everybody is hearing what I am saying, because I am coming to you from the heart. We don't know exactly what prompted or motivated this man to do what he did. But I will say this, number one. You and I both know, right? We all know that had this had been a white guy behind a young black girl who stood up on that train and stabbed that girl in the neck 3 times and killed her, we would be hearing about racism and hate crimes and white people and a white man this and a white man that, and you know we would. You know we would. Here's a black guy stands up and kills a white girl, and you hear nothing about race. Now, by the way, understand something. I want us to move to a place in life where we're not hearing anything about race, because race doesn't matter. It's 2 human beings. One did an evil act. The other is the victim of that evil act. And the human being who did the evil act needs to be punished to the full extent of the law. In my view, this is a death penalty case, because this is first-degree premeditated murder, because he's sitting behind her and he's got time to contemplate. He's got time to get up and walk away. He's got time to get off the train. He's got time to do anything else, but he makes the decision, apparently, that he is going to kill this woman because he stabbed her in the throat 3 times. That is premeditated murder. He ought to get the death penalty for it. And here she is sitting there innocently. Just think that that girl got on that train, going to, we don't know what her destination was, but you can rest assured of this. She didn't think her destination was eternity. She didn't think she was going to go get on that train, sit down, and breathe her final breaths. But for who knows how long that guy was sitting beside her, behind her, that is, behind her. She could not see him. He was looking directly at her. For whatever time he was sitting directly behind her, he knew that she was breathing her final breaths. Now, the second thing I want to say, so first of all, if this had been reversed, I mean, it would be presumed to be a racist act, right? Now, why? Because white people are racist, right? I mean, right? Yeah, of course. And if it's a white man, of course, we know even more so that a white man is a racist by definition. You don't have to ask anything. He is. So this would have been talked about, treated like a hate crime. Please share this, by the way, all of you. Please share this and get others watching. This is a very, very important discussion we need to have. And it goes to why STAND exists and why we need your help, why we need your support. But here's the second thing I want to say about this. No matter what the learned motive becomes, we hear about, well, he's suffering from mental illness, blah, 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 blah. Why this victim? When there is an incessant drumbeat, white people are racist, white people are oppressors, white people are bad, white people are the problem, white people are the source of injustice, white privilege, white identity. You need to, what was it? I think it was the military was saying to the people at one point, but all of these DEI programs saying to people, you need to diminish your whiteness. Whatever stupid thing that means. Diminish your whiteness. Give me a break. And what is it that white women have been dubbed? Karens. Meaning what? I mean, a Karen is an irritating, this is their definition, the way they would describe it. A Karen is an irritating white woman, all too aware of her own privilege, and expects everyone to bow to her and to yield to her, particularly people of color. Now, that's not what Bishop E.W. Jackson says, but that's what these idiots would say. She's a Karen. It's dehumanizing. You're not a human being, you're a Karen. I mean, is that really in substance? It might sound less offensive, but is it really any different in substance than saying, well, you're not truly a human being, you're an N-word? In my view, it's not. Because you're not a human being. You're a label that I give you. So everything you hear is about how Donald Trump's are racist and Donald Trump's out to get white people and the police are racist. I mean, Donald Trump's out to get black people and people of color and the police are racist. They're out to get young black men and all white men are oppressors and white men are the problem and old white men are this and they're that. Da, 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 da. That's all you hear. Even if you have some kind of psychological problem, that constant drumbeat could have the kind of impact that could say to a person, well, here's a white person. White people are bad. White people are oppressors. White people are racist. White people are privileged. I can rid us of one white person right here. And he cold-bloodedly kills this this young girl who God had a plan for, who had a whole life ahead of her, and he brutally snatches her life away from her. Now, I'm convinced of this. You cannot divorce this kind of act from the constant drumbeat of accusing white people of being the problem. I mean, when you have whole classes of DEI training that lists victims and oppressors, and at the top of the list of oppressors is white men, and then if they're white men who are Christians, that makes them even worse. If they're white men who are rich, then I mean, you know, you could just go on down the list, but white man's at the top of the list. And white people in general are the problem. Well, look, folks, just follow the logic, because I really believe that this is where the logic leads. If white people are the problem, wouldn't we all be better off if we just got rid of them? They're the source of injustice. They're the source of systemic racism. They're the source of all the problems. They've got the privilege. They've got the power. They've got the money. They're the ones who are doing all the bad stuff. They're the ones who are polluting the environment. They're the one. I mean, if they're the ones who are the source of all this evil, you want to get rid of the evil. Very simple. Surgically remove white people and everything is great. I mean, it's perfect. It's utopia. When you have no white people left, the world, it's like heaven. Folks, this is so deeply demonic that I cannot overstate it. It is deeply demonic. It is the same reasoning that Hitler, the same argument, it's not reason, it's irrationality. But it's the same argument that Hitler used to create a Holocaust against the Jews. Now, you can't do that with Europeans. By the way, in America, I think 70% of our population is still Americans of European ancestry. But you have to remember something. Worldwide, Europeans, I think, are only about 14% of the world population. Yeah, white people in the world population are in the minority. An ideology, a worldwide ideology, frankly, that is constantly saying that it's the white man, it's the white man, it's the white man, it's the white man, the white people are the problem, the white people are the problem. I mean, it really sets us up for some sort of genocidal action against this population that is the cancer of the world, according to the left at least. Of course, if you're a Marxist or a socialist or a communist, you get an exemption because you're okay. And of course, in the minds of the sexual deviants in our country, or if you're homosexual, transgender, want to throw pedophile in there? Homosexual, transgender, a lesbian, pedophile, whatever. You're okay because you're part of the oppressed class, even if you're white. I know, folks, it is deeply sick. You know, when I was running for lieutenant governor, I told the media, no, actually, the media picked up statements I'd made. I said homosexuality is sick, it's degenerate, it's disgusting, it poisons cultures, it destroys societies. And boy, they wouldn't let me forget I said that. Well, you know what? You look at what's happening in our culture right now. You look at attempts to take children away from their parents because their parents won't allow the children to be injected with hormones and have their genitalia and their breasts cut off and all this nonsense. And you tell me I wasn't right. I was right then. I'm right now. Homosexuality is sick. It's disgusting. It's degenerate. And it leads to all this other stuff. It leads to this all this transgender garbage and all this weird stuff that people want to do with children. It leads to pedophilia. It leads to the sexualization of children because these people have a sexual worldview. They are sex obsessed, and that's everything that matters to them. Now, of course, there are exceptions. There are conservative homosexuals. And I'd rather have them on my side than against me, but they still believe wrongly that homosexuality is good and right and normal. It is not. It is bad and wrong and abnormal. But again, I'm just saying they get an exemption even if they're white because they're a sexual minority. They're a part of the oppressed class. Look, partly why I am asking for you to support the work of STAND is we are the only conservative organization in America that is committed to speaking up against this stuff and bringing us together across racial and cultural lines. Look, there are many wonderful conservative organizations, and there are some conservative organizations that are black, okay? We are not a black organization. We're an organization of Americans. And the people involved in supporting us are black and white and Hispanic and come from all different backgrounds. And that's not what we emphasize. What we emphasize is our commonality of principle. That's what we emphasize. Now, we have a concept that we've been pushing with during Project 76 called the deracialization of America. The deracialization of America. And what we have been saying is we have got to come to a point where we see each other as fellow citizens and fellow Americans and not part of some racial group and not part or representative of some racial or demographic group. I'm just an individual. I'm just a human being. And we can be friends with each other. Our differing backgrounds can enhance each other because we can learn things maybe from each other that we didn't know before. About the world, about another person's experiences, and so forth. And that's fine, and that's wonderful. But you can do that with any human being, whether that person has a complexion similar to your own or not. Because no two human beings have the same experiences. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have had different things happen to us in life. We've all, in some ways, experienced tragedy. And we've all, in some ways, experienced triumph and overcome. I'm talking about normal people. We've got to get rid of this notion, because it's a lie, that America is systemically racist and the racism is coming from white people. No. America, like all countries, is systemically sinful. But we have been largely able to overcome that sin because we are a Christian nation. Not perfectly able to overcome it because nobody can and no nation ever will until Jesus comes. But we've been largely able to overcome it because we are a Christian nation. My sermon on Sunday was entitled History, Sin, and the Hand of God. History, sin, and the hand of God. And what I was saying was we've got to view life through a biblical worldview, not a racial worldview, not a scientific worldview, not an economic worldview where money is the most important thing, but a biblical worldview where God is most important and his word is most important, and you view life through the lens of God's word. When you view life through the lens of God's word, you see life as God sees it from a moral perspective. Of course, God is omniscient, so none of us sees as God sees because God sees everything all at once. He is not bound by time or space. He is everywhere. He is with me. He is with you. He is everywhere and knows everything. So I'm not saying that, but I'm saying from a moral and spiritual perspective, we see things the way God sees them and the way God wants them to see them when we look through a biblical lens. And when we look through a biblical lens, we realize we're not wrestling against Nobody is wrestling against white people. Give me a break. And every Christian who thinks like that needs to be dope slapped. You ought to know better. Any Christian who thinks like that ought to know better. The Bible makes clear we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in high places. And our job then is to not go seek racial and social justice. It says we're supposed to put on the whole armor of God that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, and having done all to stand, and then taking those shield and that sword of faith and that helmet of salvation, that breastplate of righteousness, and our shoes, the gospel, shod with the preparation, wearing the preparation of the gospel of peace. We're supposed to take that and just absolutely tear Satan and all of his plans and his little minions to shreds, spiritually speaking. I'm asking for your help for Stand, folks, because we really do have a unique purpose and mission of bringing Americans together across racial and cultural lines to uphold our Judeo-Christian heritage, values, and principles as one nation under God. One nation under God. Now, I'm asking you to go to our website, standamerica.us, standamerica.us. There are 3 ways you can help us. Again, pray, and write out a little prayer for us. We'd appreciate that. Pray for our country, of course, first and foremost, because America desperately needs our prayers. But pray for our organization as an organization dedicated to preserving America. You can volunteer. You can become a Stand. You can organize a Stand chapter for us, or you can be an ambassador for us, where you don't have to organize a chapter. You just agree to be an ambassador for Stand and to speak for us whenever you have an opportunity, to go to a school board meeting, to go to a city council meeting, to coalesce with other organizations and just say, look, I represent Stand. You don't have to do any organizing for that. You just have to sometimes show up and speak up. And of course, we're third. So pray, volunteer, and third, we're asking you to give. We're asking you to give. Now, folks, we have had tremendous response. We've had some very big donations, and we've had a number of small donations, but we're down to 9 days. 9 days left. And now is the time we're asking you, if you haven't before, to really begin to pour it in. Help us make this a successful event. Okay, I said we started out with 166 Patriot Partner donors. Let me see if I can find out for you before the program is over how many we have, because I keep bringing this up and I have been failing to give you an updated number. But let me tell you how many we have now. By the way, that number was 166 monthly Patriot Partner donors. We've had a number of donors, donations come in. I don't know how many monthly donors we've had come in. But again, boy, becoming a monthly Patriot Partner donor is a big deal to us, even if it's just $5 a month. Because it's an encouragement. When I look at those numbers, I see, wow, we've got 200, we got 250, we got 300. Remember, our goal this year is 300 Patriot Partners. So that's only 134 more than we've got now. And so I'm asking you to join us as a monthly Patriot Partner. Any gift you give makes you a Patriot Partner. We're changing the nomenclature and the approach. Before, Patriot Partners were monthly givers. But now any person who gives is a Patriot Partner. But we're going to designate monthly Patriot Partners versus those who give a one-time gift. But anything you give makes you a Patriot Partner with Stand. And believe me, we appreciate you. So you can go to standamerica.us. That's standamerica.us. And you can give online. If you don't want to give online, but you'd rather send a check, you can send a check to 1024 Centerbrook Lane, 1024 Centerbrook Lane, and that's Centerbrook is with an E on the end, Centerbrook Lane, and that's Suite F as in Foxtrot dash 211. That's Suite F as in Foxtrot or Frank dash 211, and that's in Suffolk, Virginia, SUFF as in Frank, OLK, Suffolk, Virginia, 23434. Let me say that again. I'm going to give you the telephone numbers and I'll come back and say the address again, as just in case you're not a person who wants to go on the website and look all of that up. But if you need help with any of this, call us and call our office for donations at 757-375-6444. That's 757-375-6444. Or you can, if you want to volunteer or do something else, call our field office at 757-439-1458. That's 757-439-1458. I always have to check that number because I don't have that one as easily memorized, but that's, I gave you the correct number, 757-439-1458. If you want to volunteer, you want to become an ambassador, you want to start a chapter, or you want to volunteer your services in some other way. 757-439-1458. So once again, if you want to send a check to Stand Foundation, Inc., or you can just say Stand to keep it simple. Just capital S, capital T, capital A, capital N, capital D. The bank knows who that is. Stand, or Stand Foundation, Inc., and send that to, and the post office knows who it is too. Send that to 1024 Centerbrook Lane, and with Centerbrook with an E on the end, Centerbrook Lane, Suite F as in Frank dash 211, Suite F as in Foxtrot dash 211, and that's in Suffolk, Virginia, SUFFOLK 23434. Anything you can do would be a help. $1 a day for the 76 days we've been doing this would be $76. $10 a day would be $760. $100 a day would be $7,600. And I said before, my wife and I gave at the $7,600 level because we really believe in the power of giving, and we believe in putting our money where our mouth is. Or you can give $10,000 a day, which would be $760,000, and we could certainly use a little of that. Or you could give $100,000 a day, which would be $7.6 million. And believe me, we could use every single dime of it. Believe me, we wouldn't be saying, well, gee, we don't know what to do. We never imagined having this kind of money. Oh, believe me, folks, I need an executive director to run the day-to-day of this organization. I need a development director to help me cultivate. I've got a wonderful consultant right now, Kristen Arnold, wonderful consultant who helps us with our fundraising. But I need a full-time development director who helps manage our database, who helps cultivate and manage all of our donors, and so forth. That's a full-time job, folks. And you're not going to get a person who does that for less than, say, maybe $75,000 a year. And they probably have to pay six figures, probably have to pay $100,000 a year for a person to do that on a full-time basis. I need a communications director, somebody who is constantly getting out. By the way, that development director would also be constantly pushing out letters to our audience and newsletters to our audience and our supporters and our constituents and all those folks, letting them know what we're doing and keeping them up with everything, which I have a hard time doing. And then the communications director who's sending out press releases, setting up interviews, constantly helping me to get out there and let people know what we're doing. And folks, believe it or not, right now, I'm doing pretty much all of that. Well, and you know, I can't do all of that effectively. I can't. But I'm pretty much doing all of it and keeping the organization going. So somebody gave us $7.6 million. Believe me, I wouldn't say, wow, that was really great, but I have no idea what we're going to do with that. I mean, we started a direct mail campaign, something we've never had before. We started a direct mail system and start building up our small monthly donors who give through direct mail. Direct mail is still the most effective fundraising. It's expensive to build it up, but it's the most effective small donor fundraising tool that there is. Email is not as effective at all, although we're going to continue to do that too. So there's all of that. Then I could look to tell you the truth, folks, I need a program director. I need a program director for the Family Restoration Institute. I need a program director for STAND, for Educational Choice. I need a program director for STAND with law enforcement. I need some additional assistant field directors to help our field director, to help you and others around the country who want to get active with STAND, but we don't have the bandwidth to sort of follow up with them. I need a director for, and maybe one or two people can double up on a couple of these jobs, but I need a director for our STAND Fellowship, which is Christian ministers and business people and any Christian leader who wants to be part of the STAND Fellowship. I need a person to handle that. And I mean, folks, there's a lot that we want to do, a lot that we need to be doing. I need to follow up with the various meetings we've had on these issues. I mean, we want to go into these communities and set up the Family Restoration Institute as a way of trying to teach families how to be stronger, the STAND with law enforcement effort, as a way of trying to bring community together with law enforcement so that they work together and they see law enforcement as their friends rather than their enemies. This stuff of seeing the cops as the enemy, snitches get stitches. I mean, no wonder you got crime running rampant in these communities, because people are either too afraid or they're too skewed in their thinking to help the police solve these crimes. Skewed in their thinking, I'm not going to help a cop. The cop's the enemy. No, they're not. No, they're not. Because we've got 650 dead children to prove that the defund the police movement, the dismantle the police movement, was a complete and utter and cataclysmic debacle that only destroyed hundreds of lives. In fact, I'd argue thousands, because I'm just talking about children now, not to mention all the adults that have been murdered. So there's no lack of what we need to do. I mean, right now, I'm essentially the only one in our organization who travels. But I need my field directors or assistant field directors to be able to travel too and get out there and go to these places where we've got people who want to get involved with STAND and want to be active with STAND, but they simply don't have we don't have the budget to send them. Folks, travel is extremely expensive. Let me tell you, travel is extremely expensive. This month alone, I'm going to Colorado, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio. This month alone. I don't know what the total cost of that's going to be, but I guarantee you, because I don't travel alone, I guarantee you that's going to run, that alone, those trips alone. Now, I'm not paying for a hotel in most of those. Sometimes, because I take additional staff and people can't afford to pay, I end up absorbing some of that cost. But just the trips alone, where in some cases, and for one trip, I'm taking care of my own expenses because the organization had a difficult time last year because of bad weather, and ended up paying for a bunch of stuff that then they couldn't hold the meeting. So as a favor to them, I'm going this year and absorbing the cost. I mean, so you're probably looking at easily $10,000 just for that, just for my travel this month. So I just said that musing about, so if somebody said, here's $7.6 million, $100,000 a day for Project 76, believe me, I would be elated. I'd probably fall off my chair. But aside from that, I wouldn't start to think, oh, well, I have no idea what we're going to do with that. Wow, that's really more than we need. Oh, my goodness gracious. No, all the things we've been dreaming about, all the things that we want to do, we would begin to put some of those things in place. And of course, the biggest cost for an organization like ours, the biggest cost is always going to be staff. Oh, not to mention the Maximum Potential Christian Academy. Oh, my goodness gracious. I mean, because we really need to expand. We've got more demand than we have space and teachers to teach the children. We got 20 kids right now. We could easily double that. Easily. We want to go K through 12. Right now we're K through 5. Might be K through 6, but we could easily go K through 12 in a matter of a few years. But of course, we got to have the resources to do that. And we're not serving a constituency that can pay full tuition right now. It costs us about $7,000 a year to educate each child, and we probably only have about 25% of our parents who could afford to pay that. If that, about 25%. And the others, half, a quarter of that. So believe me, folks, I just said that to say, so if somebody said, you know what, I'm going to give you $100,000 a day for that 76 days, $7.6 million, here's the money. Believe me, like I said, I would be deeply, profoundly grateful, elated. But but I tell you, I wouldn't, wow, that's beyond anything we know what to do with. What are we going to do with all that? Believe me, folks, it would be put to work immediately. And I'm not talking about a car for me or anything. I'm not talking about anything for me. I'm talking about ministry to serve this country and to bring our nation together. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of times when these children are murdered, for example, I want to go directly there. But again, just like I described before, man, that costs money. You know, that's an added trip. You know, you got to take part of your staff. I was told somebody that I know, and that you know too if I mentioned his name, but I won't mention his name because I'm not trying to embarrass him. But I know he wants $50,000 to do a speaking engagement. And I was told, and the reason for that is the entourage he takes with him. Because he's far better known than I am, and he's got to take extra security, and he's got to take staff for the various things that these trips do and that they're used for. And I'm told that's why it costs so much. Well, I take 2 people with me. Imagine. 2 people. I'm doing a trip, a pro-life trip, as a matter of fact. I'm going to be speaking in Fort Lauderdale. I did the numbers on travel to Fort Lauderdale, folks. Hotel, flight. I don't think I'm even including a rental car in that. But hotel, flight, rental car, for my security was going to cost me $2,000. $2,000. It's not money going into my pocket. It's money going out the door. And I even priced security in the area, you know, thinking, well, what if I don't take security with me? I just meet it there. Yeah. One event, a good, solid, because you obviously look for people with a good reputation, know what they're doing, they got to carry, $720. So, folks, I forgive me, but I said all that to say this is a real enterprise, and it costs real money to do it. So anything you can give, you might be thinking, well, man, what's he talking to me about $7.6 million? Why don't you talk so, I don't have $7.6 million. You probably don't have $7.6 million. All I'm saying is your $7.60, your $76. It helps. It helps. So anything you can do to help us would be much appreciated. I am absolutely committed, determined to overwhelm. See, if I had the resources, overwhelm the likes of Al Sharpton and Jasmine Crockett and Joy Reid and all these other race baiters and race pimp hustlers, overwhelming them with the truth about America, the truth about our history, the truth about who we really are. And folks, you know, and part of the issue, as you all know, I am the person that the media particularly does not want to hear from, because A, they don't like my views on race, they don't like my views on sexual morality, and they don't like the fact that I'm a conservative, and they will do everything in their power to try to silence me. Or if they use anything that I've said, they try to use it and make me look like a complete buffoon. They are the real buffoons. Or like a hater or a bigot or whatever. So, help us. Help us. Go to standamerica.us. That's standamerica.us in order to give or to volunteer or to just leave a prayer or what have you. Oh, and folks, oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Got to get this out. Got to get this out before I go. Oh my goodness, I don't have it in front of me either. I should have it. But look, on Constitution Day, we're going to have a citizen's oath. We're going to actually lead you in the citizen's oath to the Constitution. Now, the citizen's oath to the Constitution is on our website. You can go there and view it. Go under, I think it's under Get Involved, and you'll see oaths or whatever. Let me make sure I'm giving you good information here. But we're gonna in the last hour, I'm gonna lead everybody in the citizen's oath to the Constitution, where you have an opportunity to take the oath to the Constitution. We'll send you a copy that you can then sign, and you can frame it and mount it on your own wall. I'm going to show you mine shortly. Okay? I'm going to show you mine shortly. I'm going to have it framed as soon as I can get that done. It probably won't be this week, because I'm going to be headed for Colorado on Wednesday. And so I'm going to be with you live today and tomorrow. And I'm going to try to get some programs taped so that I will be with you every single day, because I really can't afford to lose these days. But I'm on the board of Truth and Liberty at Andrew Wommack Ministries, and I need to be there for this event. So, folks, that's exciting, because it's a unified, just like I say, make Constitution Day a federal holiday. The citizen's oath to the Constitution is a way of unifying us. Every single one of us can do it. That's our governing document, 238 years old. And you'll have an opportunity to take the citizen's oath, even if you've never taken it as a police officer or firefighter or public official or an elected official or a military person, or you're a birth citizen as opposed to a naturalized citizen. If you've never taken the oath for whatever reason, you can now do it voluntarily as a citizen, not as a governmental order, because I don't believe in that, but as a voluntary matter. You can say, you know what? I took the citizen's oath to the Constitution. And by the way, folks, think about what a teaching opportunity that will be for your family. Pastors, think about what a teaching opportunity that would be for your church. You could go through the words, and then you could talk about the biblical principles that are involved with the Constitution. I mean, the notion that liberty and freedom, liberty and rights, that is, come from Almighty God. You all saw that stupid Tim Tiny Brain Kane talking about the idea that rights and liberty come from God. That's like Iran. I find that very disturbing, very troubling. Whew. Man, please, somebody run against this man and send him packing. He is one of the dumbest people that has ever gotten elected to the United States Senate, and he's gotten elected from my beloved Virginia. Lord, help us. Again, if you don't want to do that, you can write us. You can call us at 757-375-6444 to donate. Or if you want to volunteer, call us at 757-439-1458. Well, folks, that is going to do it. I hope this guy who killed that girl on that train in North Carolina, I hope that he gets the death penalty, because he should. I'm waiting to hear what the facts are and what the motivation was. And maybe he's really mentally ill and delusional. That's a different matter. But if he's assuming that he's fit to stand trial, he should be fried. And these leftists need to quit this continual, incessant drumbeat. White people the problem, white people the problem, white people the problem, white people the problem, white people, white people, white people, white people, white privilege, systemic racism, and all. They need to stop. Jesus said, a kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. We want our country to be unified as one nation under God. Well, that's going to do it for today. I got to go. I'm already several minutes over. But God bless each and every one of you. I love you. I'm praying for you. I will be with you again live tomorrow. And tune in all week, because I'm going to be with you one way or the other. I'm going to be with you all week. We can't allow this last week before Constitution Day for me to be silent for 3 days, because I'm leaving for Colorado tomorrow, and I won't be, Wednesday, and I will not be back until Saturday. But in the meantime, I'm going to make sure that we're communicating with you anyway. For those of you who tuned in late, rewind this baby back to the beginning and hear what I had to say about this incident, because, folks, again, this makes me godly angry that things like this happen. And I really believe they happen in part because of the rhetoric of the left, seeking to divide us racially and seeking to villainize certain people because of the color of their skin or their ancestry, namely Europeans or so-called quote-unquote white people. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's wicked. It's evil. It's insidious. And frankly, that is racist. Nobody has a monopoly on righteousness, and nobody has a monopoly on wickedness. That is an individual matter, and it can be on anybody. But thank God for the righteousness of Jesus Christ, which has been shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit and the love of God. God bless you all. Stand up, step up, speak up, refuse to back up, because we cannot be defeated if we will not quit, because we are on God's side. God bless everybody.